Give me a minute, and let's go through this, shall we? This is a post from Donald Trump. He says, "Think of it, a modestly successful comedian, Volodymyr Zelensky." Now we'll stop right there because I'm going to fact check this thing one point at a time. Mr. Zelensky is not a moderately successful comedian. What he is one of the most successful media impresarios in Europe. He built a media empire out of the ashes of Soviet Ukraine. So please, let's not start with this insulting diminution of someone else's success. Now, this next statement is so far removed from reality. Okay, facts only, right? Facts. Talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion. That is nonsense. That is nowhere near what we spent. What we spent is about half of that, and only about a third of that actually went to Ukraine. The rest went into foreign partners and our own defense industry contracts to rebuild our own stockpiles of weapons we had sent here. So this is bullshit of the first order. The idea that it was Zelensky that talked the United States into this, rather than everyone in the United States who understands the danger that Russia poses, not just to Ukraine, but to the United States, to world peace, to global economies, is so far removed from reality that how the 26th Amendment is not being used to remove this psychopath from office is beyond me. This next statement breaks my heart. To go into a war that couldn't be won. Now, nobody's saying that this is an easy fight. Nobody is saying that even with all the support we've given, that Ukraine might not still lose against the mighty Russia. But what it says, it's a cynical misinterpretation of the reality that every time we give the Ukrainians the tools they need, they get the job done. The only reason Ukraine has not succeeded so far is because of the slow drip of support. We have given them enough to bleed and stay in the fight, but not enough to win. And that's on us, not on Ukraine. Certainly not on the men and the women on the front line who do the job every fucking day without complaint. He then goes on to say, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. Why Trump is in quotes, I don't know. It probably goes to his narcissism. And the idea that the success here all hinges on him, the great man. No one can solve it but me. This incompetent fired the men and women who manage our nuclear arsenal. I mean, come on. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe. That's a lie. And Europe's money is guaranteed. Also a lie. While the United States will get nothing back. Also a lie. Those elements of the aid that we sent that were loans or kind of a lend-lease deal, I have every confidence that Ukraine will do its level best to pay those back under the terms by which they were loaned. Not under these dictatorial terms coming from Trump. Why didn't Sleepy Joe demand equalization in this war that is far more important to Europe than to us? We have a big, beautiful ocean as separation. This nonsensical, xenophobic attitude goes to the heart of Trump's lack of understanding of the global economy and the global world that we are living in. What happens here matters. It matters to America. And he blows it off as if the ocean was somehow enough to sustain us. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we sent him is missing. No, he does not. This is nonsense. Anyone can go to ukraineoversight.gov. It's a .gov address, ukraineoversight.gov. And you can see the General Accounting Office's accounting of every penny of aid. When he says he doesn't know where it went, it's because he doesn't know how to use a fucking web browser. He refuses to have elections, is very low in Ukrainian polls, and the only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle. This is nonsensical. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, I'll look it up, but if I'm not mistaken, Zelensky's approval rating here in Ukraine is at 57%, 11 points higher than Trump's. And that's in a wartime economy. Now, this next bit here is probably the most important lie he tells in this unhinged missive of his. A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move faster. He's going to have not going to have a country left. This is a Russian talking point. Zelensky won his election here by 72%. The constitution of this country, right? And of course, it makes sense that Donald Trump would trash other people's constitution since he has no respect for his own. Forbids elections or prohibits elections during wartime. 20% of the country is occupied. Millions of Ukrainian voices won't be heard in an election. Not to mention the 7 million Ukrainians that are out of the country. What do you do about that? How do you hold an election? Where's the money going to come from? Ukraine is putting everything into its defense right now. This is absurd. In the meantime, now here's where the betrayal happens. This is where Trump turns around and sticks the knife right into Ukraine's kidney. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia. Something all admit only Trump, again in quotes and all caps, and the Trump administration can do. Biden never tried, Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to keep the gravy train going. Oh yeah, that's what Zelensky wants. He wants to continue to send the men and women of Ukraine to their deaths on the battlefield as they valiantly struggle to preserve the sovereignty of this nation. Europe has failed. The whole gravy train thing is such bullshit. It's disgusting. I love Ukraine. Trump doesn't love anybody but himself. But Zelensky has done a terrible job. Huge, huge lie, in my opinion. His country is shattered and millions have died unnecessarily, and so it continues. Again, millions have not died. Not to diminish the awful losses that Ukraine has suffered, and they have. But it's not millions. It's not millions. The President of the United States of America is getting onto his private Truth social media platform and acting as a parrot for Russian disinformation and lies as he continuously hands one win to another to the greatest threat that the world has ever known, the Russian oligarchs and the Kremlin. This is a travesty and a betrayal, not just of our allies, but of every ideal that we are supposed to hold as Americans. It is unhinged, it is removed from reality, and Donald Trump must be removed from office by the will of the American people, or the consequences will be dire for all of us, for the whole world. Thank you.